Hey, this is Eric, and in this video we're taking a look at Duet AI for Google Workspace. I was fortunate to be able to interview Vivek Chachcha, who is a product manager for Google Workspace for Education and who works directly with Duet AI for Education. Well, hey, this is Eric, and I am so excited to be chatting today about Google's Duet AI with Vivek Chachcha from Google. If you haven't heard about Duet AI, it is a suite of AI tools that integrate directly with the Google Workspace products such as Docs and Slides and Sheets and Gmail and Meet and more. We're going to learn all about those details as we're chatting here today. First, though, thank you so much for taking time to chat. Would you like to start with a quick introduction about yourself and what you do at Google?
Sounds great. Thanks, Eric. So as you mentioned, my name is Vivek. I'm a product manager here at Google for Workspace for Education. For those who may not be familiar, Workspace for Education is a team that tries to bring the best of Workspace, meaning, Sheets, Docs, Slides, Calendar, Meet, all of that, and bringing the best of that to educational institutions around the world. Personally, I lead our Duet AI strategy, which is looking at how do we bring the best of this AI and all this new technology across Google and bring the best of that to our educational institutions.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. Well, again, thank you so much for chatting with us. As I mentioned, Duet AI, that is the suite of AI tools that integrates directly into the Workspace products, as you've mentioned. Let's go ahead and flesh that out a little bit. What are some of the main features that currently come with Duet AI?
Great question, Eric. I really like to think of Duet as a thought partner, right? It's meant to be a collaborative tool that helps you do whatever it is that you are trying to do within Google Workspace. And maybe the best way to think about that is through an anecdote, right? So let's think about an education leader who's been maybe tasked with creating a proposal for a science summer camp. You get an email and now, okay, I have a project now. I need to go create some sort of science camp proposal. Maybe you're in Google Docs, you're trying to write out some objectives, who is the target audience, what might the agenda look like, and now maybe Duet AI can help you do that and go from 0 to 1 really, really quickly. And so as you go into Google Docs, you can go to Duet AI and say, help me write a proposal for a science camp project that will take place over 3 days this summer and will have 30 grade 6 students in attendance. Please make sure to include an objective, some agenda items, as well as a fun activity for the group to do. And with that, Duet AI can now spin up a great proposal. And then you use your personal expertise to tweak that, make amendments as you need for what's appropriate for whatever it is that you're trying to do. But then this is where it gets interesting personally, because as you have that first proposal, you look at that and you realize, I don't have a budget. I need to create some sort of budget for this. So I can now head on over to Google Sheets and say, help me write a budget proposal for this science summer camp that I'm drafting. It will include 30 students, and I will need to account for transportation, food, and maybe accommodations if it's an overnight camp. And so now Duet AI can go through and create a great first draft. It has all the different rows that you may not even have remembered yet that might you need to account budget for. And so now you have an initial draft, and you go ahead and tweak the numbers as more appropriate for your specific needs. And now you have a budget. But then as you're thinking through this, you realize, I don't have a poster. I need to actually now create some sort of poster to announce that there's a science camp coming. So I can head on over to Google Slides now. And as I'm creating this poster, maybe I'm thinking, hey, I want to have this science camp at the Empire State Building. So help me visualize a science camp that might take place at the Empire State Building. And Google Slides can help you do that. And so this analogy I really like to explain it this way as a way of explaining how Duet AI stays with you throughout your journey. Right? No matter where you are in Workspace, as you're trying to do the things you are, Duet AI is there to help you just do those things better, faster, and more creatively.
That's fantastic. And I do like the name Duet because I think it does really emphasize that we're not talking about AI replacing people. We're not talking about AI doing our work for us. we're talking about being our assistant, being our co-teacher, being our teaching assistant, being our helper, being a sounding board, being our creative partner, giving that additional help to us. We in the end still have the final say in what we create, and we are bringing our own personality and our own expertise, but we're leveraging the benefit of the power of AI to help us. So I love that way you look at it. The fact that it's called Duet. I think that's a really great approach to that. That's fantastic. Well, I have had a chance to play with this a little bit. I am part of the Trusted Tester program, so I get early access to some of the new tools. And so I have used the Duet AI tools in a couple of ways. Like in Google Slides, I have had it create images. In Google Docs, I've used it to brainstorm or to generate content. In Google Sheets, I've even had it help me build a inventory for all of my board games. I am a bit of a tabletop board game, card game fanatic, and I was having it help me put that together. I'm curious, since you've had a lot of people using this, you probably get a lot of feedback. How have you seen educators using the Duet AI tools so far?
Great question, Eric. And I love the use cases there. I personally am a big fan of board games as well, so maybe I should be using Duet AI to make an inventory of my board games. Some of the more creative ways that I've seen educators use Duet AI are really interesting. So one of the ways that have stuck out to me is creating schedules, right? And so when you have a number of folks that you're trying to balance with a number of requirements, some folks are only available on certain days. Maybe you have different tasks that only certain folks can fulfill. And so trying to create a schedule that meets all of those different needs, and especially over an extended period of time. So, if you're trying to plan for a semester, that's a long time and a lot of different things to try and balance. And so Duet AI is also great at trying to figure out the right balance and the right way to look at data like that to help you figure out the scheduling for that. The other really interesting way, and I think is like a great benefit of Duet AI, is to summarize data, right? So summarize information to help you absorb it better.
Mhm.
Imagine you're out sick for a day. We have a snowstorm coming today, actually. And so if you're out and you haven't been checking emails today, you may come back the next time. And now you have a backlog of a lot of emails, a lot of information that you're trying to catch up on, but you don't have that much time. And so using Duet AI to help summarize long email threads, new contents, new processes, it helps you absorb that data way, way faster. And so it helps you really focus on the things that are most important to you.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. I mean, one of the things we have the least of is time. And so anything that can give us back more time is such a powerful benefit for educators. That's awesome. Now, from what I understand, everything we've mentioned so far, this is just the start of Duet AI, the examples that we've shared so far. There have been a lot of blog posts and press events. I follow these very, very closely anytime Google announces anything. And they've mentioned features that are coming soon to Duet AI. I've seen things like the ability to organize your Gmail inbox, or to summarize Google Meet sessions, or to create formulas in Google Sheets, or even creating soundtracks in Google Slides, and lots of other things. I'm curious what you can share about new features that are on the roadmap. Where are we headed from here?
Yeah, great question, Eric. And I love two things, you said right there. We're around saving time. And this is really a big focus for us. How do we save educators time? And then the other part that I really want to focus on is the fact that this is just the beginning, right? AI has been around for a long time, but this is just the start of Duet AI. And we have so much coming down the road. I'm so excited for it. Two that stick out to me are transformation of data and the ability to be more present in meetings. And so let me dive into what both of those mean.
Sure.
When we look at any type of work that we do, it often starts with an email. Someone has emailed us. Now you're creating maybe some sort of document. But then the document is not sufficient for presentations, because now the document needs to get transformed into some sort of slides. Once the slides are done, and then you need to send out a recap email. So now you're going back to email and sending an email. But the content is very similar across all of these different formats, but you end up spending so much time just transforming one into the other. And that's an area where we think Duet AI can help and really save educators time. If you already have great content in a written doc, there's no need for you to spend hours trying to transform that into a great presentation. Why don't you have Duet AI do that for you? The other one that's really important to me personally is the one being ability to be more present in meetings. And what I mean by that is, you always have at least one person, often multiple folks, that are trying to capture everything that's being talked about in the meeting. You're trying to capture the action items that come out of it. What are the next steps? Any concerns that people may have voiced? But ultimately, that means that the person taking the notes is not actually able to participate in the conversation itself. And that is something that we can solve for, right? Why don't we have Duet AI take your meeting notes for you? Why don't we have a record of everything that's being said? You can have action items, it can assign things for folks to do, and it can send out an email summary at the end. And that way, everyone can be truly present and focus on whatever it is that we're discussing today.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, in both cases, I think those are great examples of being able to, yes, save time and also, yeah, be more present. Isn't it great to have technology help connect us more and help us actually be more present by taking care of some of those other tasks so we can focus more on actually connecting with other people. That's all great. Those are great ideas. Um, I've been thinking as well too about some things I would love to see. Now, I don't know if any of these things are on the roadmap, but since I've got your ear, I'm going to share some of these because maybe who knows, maybe they can get added to the to the options there. But I was thinking, okay, as an educator, what are some things? How can we leverage AI to help us? And what would I love to see in Duet AI? And I think of lots of things. So for one thing, for a teacher, it would be being able to process a large amount of student assignments at once. So let's say you've given an assignment. Maybe you're using Google Classroom, maybe not, but perhaps you are. Well, if you are, you've got a folder of documents as the students have submitted their writings to be able to say, okay, Duet AI, I want you to look at this folder and read all of these documents that are in here. Here is the directions for what this assignment was, so it knows what to be expecting, and just say, give me feedback. Summarize what you see across these 125 essays that got turned in. Where are the students struggling? Where are their concerns? What are they excelling in? What are things I should be focusing on? In a case like that, again, you're still the teacher. You're still making these decisions in the end and making a difference in the students' lives, but we're leveraging the power of the AI tool to be able to process, 125 documents and surface these actionable ideas from there. And so something like that, I think, would be fantastic. Maybe even going a step further into grading it at some point where we can provide it a very detailed rubric and maybe some exemplars of here's how I would grade these different assignments, and then having the AI do a first pass on potential grade and feedback that, again, we can come in and customize ourselves. So I think of things like that. Definitely data. You'd mentioned that. I think of maybe an administrator having a spreadsheet with just thousands of rows of student data with testing and so many things, and being able to say, okay, Duet AI, can you process all this data and look for patterns, look for at-risk students, look for things that we need to be focusing on in this data. And then I think of things just like, saving time with email. I know we've mentioned email a couple of times. I know right now, Duet AI can write an email for you. And then, of course, you're going to go in and adjust it and flesh it out more. But I would love for it to learn more how I write. Like say, okay, Duet AI, read every email I have ever sent. There's my inbox. You got it. You got my sent folder. Read everything in my sent folder and train a model based upon how I write. And then as I have it help me write new emails, it's personalized toward me. Or like you had mentioned, being, out because of a snow day and trying to catch up. Yeah, I would love, oh my gosh, I'd love just to be able to say, hey, take a look at every new message I got in the last day. Is there something critical that I really need to respond to? Because I'm going to be heading to a conference. So I'm going to be doing this or that. I'm going to get backed up. If it could help me not fall behind, or even pointed at a folder, maybe one of my email distribution lists that just fills up a folder and I just can't go through it. Say, read through that whole folder and tell me, what are the highlights? What are the things I should take a look at? Those are some things that I would love to see leveraging the power of AI with the Google Workspace. I don't know, any of those ideas maybe fit into Duet AI, or I guess what big picture wise, what are you and your team thinking about AI for educators?
No, I love those ideas, right? And I think they really fit well within how we think about Duet AI for educators, right? I think you hit it just on the head, right? It's about elevating the educator and keeping them in the loop, making sure they're the experts, recognizing that, but then trying to save them time, right? And it all goes back to time. How do you bring in all this information, all this technology to help all those tasks that take up so much of your time, but that are not directly related to you focusing on your expertise, right? So, how can we summarize that information for you? How can we help you catch up? How can we help you stay connected and organized? All of those are the right ways to think about it. The last piece I'll add there is about scalability, right? And I think you kind of hit that as well around, hey, I have a way of doing things and I can do this task, but I need to do it 150 times. I need to do it 200 times,
Yes.
right? So how can Duet AI help me scale myself, right? And we see this a lot, right? Teacher burnout, teacher retention are major issues right now. And I see Duet AI as a way to help alleviate some of the issues, behind that. So being able to help teachers save at least, a few hours, even just 2 or 3 hours every week would go a very long way towards them being able to do the things that are most important for them and for education generally. And so that's our focus. That's how we're thinking about Duet AI.
Absolutely. I can't imagine there's a teacher anywhere who, works 9 to 5, or, 7 to 3 or whatever those hours are. I was a teacher for 7 years, a middle school math teacher. And then the last, however many, this is year 32, however many since I was a math teacher, I should know. I've now been a technology coach. But teachers are always working above and beyond, evenings, weekends, summers, to be able to get some of that time back for self care. How important that is, and to get time back to do what you do best, to connect directly with the students. That's fantastic. Now, as awesome as all of this is, I absolutely do still have to talk about the question of pricing. It takes a lot of power to run these AI applications on these servers. So I understand that Duet AI, it's actually an additional license for schools that want to use it. Let's talk about that. What is the price for schools to use Duet AI? Is there a minimum number of licenses that they need to buy? How does that work?
Yeah, great question, Harry. So at the outset, the price is around $30 per user per month. If they're looking for an annual subscription, it's $36 per user per month. If they're looking for a month-to-month subscription, but there's no minimum seats, right? And this is a very conscious decision that we made. Going back to that point earlier about this is the beginning of the journey, right? And so it's really important, and we view this as a responsibility for Google for Education, is to help educators try and understand the value of this AI technology into their day-to-day life. And so the perspective here is that if you can try it out with even a few licenses within your institution, give it, run a pilot program, try it with a number of your faculty, with a number of your educators, they can try it out. They understand, hey, how does this fit into my day-to-day? How does this actually help me with all the different tasks that I'm doing? And as you try it out and you get to experiment with it and you get your hands on it, that's where you get to see the value, right? That's where you understand it and it clicks. It's not a far off technology that's just been developed and you hear in the news, but it's a concrete value to your life, a concrete impact to your way of working. And that's, I think, the difference. And so that's what we're trying to drive by making it the barrier to entry as lower as possible.
That's excellent. And just for clarification for people, we are talking about staff. This is a tool that is available for ages 18 and above. I just want to clarify that. I don't know roadmap wise. Is there thoughts down the road for at least investigating opening up some of these tools to students, or are we just at the moment really focusing on getting the staff using this to begin with?
As with any new technology, there are some risks, and you have to just really make sure we do our due diligence before we open it up to our students, right?
Yeah.
And so at Google, we're taking that long stance, right? Making sure that everything is extremely safe and locked down before we open it up to students. And so at the point, currently, we're making sure that educators and being able to elevate those use cases is the priority. But I do think, down the road, we also want to bring the best of AI and that technology to our students. How can we help them learn better and not just also help educators teach better?
Absolutely. Now, with all of that said, I think it's really important to compare Duet AI with Google's free AI offerings. So, for example, you've got Google Bard, which is Google's AI chatbot, very similar to like ChatGPT. Bard is free to use, and it can generate content, it can provide feedback, it can help brainstorm and revise. Bard can even export files to Gmail, to Docs, to Sheets. And then there's something like, Notebook LM, which is another free AI tool from Google that lets, the user upload their own files and then have a chat about those documents that they've provided. How is Duet AI different from using the free tools such as Bard and Notebook LM? What is the added value that comes with Duet AI versus those particular tools?
Great question, Eric. I think with Duet AI, the focus is really on meeting users where they are, and also meeting users where the information that they need to do their work is. And both of those really align to Workspace. And so the idea is, I, as an educator, may only have a few hours out of the day, out of the week even, really, to get a lot of work done. And so when I come into Google Docs, when I come into Google Sheets, I have a task that I'm trying to do. If I then need to leave and go somewhere else, learn a new technology, learn how to do my process over there, generate a new way of working, and then bring that back, that's an additional step that we can alleviate, right? And so the idea is that wherever you're actually doing your work, wherever the actual output of your work is going to live, we can help you do that process within the context of that information. And so Duet AI is meant to basically help you throughout your workspace day, right? So whenever you come in, Duet AI is there to help you, whatever it is that you're doing. And so you don't ever have to leave or come back.
That makes a lot of sense. And I probably would also echo something you said earlier just about the tight integration between the different workspace tools. I think that would probably be another benefit of Duet AI, that I would be able to be, in one tool and have it reference something that I just created in a document to then create the slideshow, to then create the spreadsheet, et cetera, by having it working inside of the workspace system. Well, let's go ahead and start wrapping all this up by talking about what schools can do if they want to learn more about this, if they want to stay up to date, maybe they want to start using it, trying it out. So I guess, first of all, if a school is interested in trying out Duet AI, purchasing a license, how do they go about that?
Yeah, so Duet AI for Google Workspace Enterprise is out now and available to all educational institutions using Workspace for Education. So they can work through their usual resellers or channels that they use for purchasing Workspace, and they can go through them to try out Duet as well.
Do they need to already be on a particular tier? I know we've got our
Mhm.
4 tiers of Workspace for Education. Is that a requirement as well as getting the Duet licenses?
No, great clarification. And so going back to that point of getting Duet into the hands of as many educators as possible, we have no restrictions on terms of the tier itself, right? So regardless of how you're using Workspace for Education today, you can go ahead and purchase Duet and try it out and see how it helps you.
Excellent, excellent. And I understand that you guys are adding an AI track to the teacher pilot program. Can you explain a little bit about that and how that might help benefit schools as they explore AI?
Yeah, great shout out to the pilot program. For the folks who may not be familiar, Google for Education runs a teacher pilot program where we work with educators across the world, basically to help influence, co-design, and co-create, our future roadmaps, right? So it helps us identify what is it truly that's hurting teachers today? What are their needs? What are the things that we can help them with? And then also, what are the best ways in which to do that? So the AI track and the addition of the AI track to that program is just the latest of our commitment to making sure educators are in the loop, aware of what's coming, and also have a voice in informing how and what we build to help educators. And yeah, so the AI track is basically to inform how will we bring the best of AI technology to help educators, and having educators tell us where they think it would be helpful for them.
Well, that's fantastic to get feedback from the folks who are doing this day in and day out in a school setting. And I understand there is a link to a form. I took a look at that. I'll include that in all the content as I share this out. If you're watching this as a video, probably down in the description, as well as in whatever blog post I put out with this, the link to express interest in the teacher pilot program. All right. Well, hey, as we wrap up, anything else that you'd like to share or add before we close this off?
I think I really want to anchor on what you said earlier. This is the beginning of a journey, right? The AI journey is a long one ahead, and I'm really, really excited for how it's going to help transform education and the way that we see it around the world, really. And so, I think the one piece of advice I would leave all our educators with is, to try it out, to have an open mind and try out the new AI technologies, try out Duet AI, and see how it helps enrich your day-to-day lives and how it helps elevate your productivity so that you can truly focus on what's most important to you.
Well said, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We want you to get back to making AI amazing, so I will wrap this up. But thank you so very much. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm looking forward to seeing where all of this goes. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much for having me.
And for all my other resources, check out my blog at controlaltachieve.com. And to connect with me, go to bit.ly/CAA-connect, where you'll find all of my social media links, email, newsletter, and more.